Where is the excitement levels at on a Wednesday morning of Masters Week?
Pretty high, but pretty relaxed, Owen, because I'm buried in research. And I was doing a lot of research last night, and I found out that Corey Connors from Canada is from a place called Listowel in Canada.
Wow.
So I know, Owen, as a proud Kerry man, you'll have your money on Corey Connors this week. I'm sure they pronounce it differently over there, but it's spelled the same.
This slot is now a Corey Connors slot, John. We were talking about nobody else at this point. So give us all the other facts about him and Listowel, Ontario, which I've just Googled.
Well, Corey Connors is an improving golfer who was third recently at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. He won the Texas Open a couple of years ago, and he nearly made my staking plan, and he did not quite make it, but he's finished in the top 10, tied for 10th at last November's Masters. So he does have a liking for the course, and he's definitely a progressive golfer. Whether he'll put as well on these slicker greens now we're going to face in April and November remains to be seen. He nearly made the staking plan, but not quite.
Well, let's get straight into that. We'll come back to some of the other contenders that maybe aren't in your staking plan, but how are you looking this weekend when it comes to tipping and trying to figure out a winner?
Well, I'm feeling good because of the winner last week, Jordan Spieth, the main headline tip at the Texas Open for the Virtual Insanity. All 1,654 words of this week's Masters preview are now online on otbsports.com and on the OTB app. So I'm feeling confident. I've had a good run, Owen, but the only reason that that's the case is because I've been watching golf wall to wall since January the 1st. So I do feel that I was putting this on Twitter yesterday. In the Texas Open last week, there were 144 contenders. This week at the Masters, there are 88. Some of the bookmaking firms are going 8, 9, 10, 11 places. They want to entice punters, maybe the once-a-year punters who should obviously gamble responsibly for one of the biggest sporting events of the year. So with 88 contenders and a lot of past champions that have no chance, and some rookies who probably don't have a chance, and amateurs, you're whittling down the field quite early. So I do think actually it's one of the best events to have a Euro each way on all year, because I think the odds are more in your favour than a regular tour event. Do you want to get straight to them?
Yeah, let's do it, John.
Well, the first one I think I really like to win this week, Owen, is Patrick Cantley from America. I put 10 each way virtually on him at 22-1 for 9 places. Patrick Cantley, a couple of years ago when Tiger Woods won the Masters, Patrick Cantley, who's the former world amateur, #1 in the world, he was for over a year the top amateur, shot 64 on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday, he was 6 under par through 15. And then he played the last 3 holes in 2 over par. If he played it in 1 under, he would have been in the playoff. Just shows the talent he has. He's won Jack Nicklaus's tournament, the Memorial, which is not too dissimilar to Augusta, with the 64 in the final round. He faced down John Ram and Justin Thomas to win the Zozo Championship in the fall of last year. He finished second in the American Express, third at Pebble Beach this year. He's an excellent ball striker. He's good around the greens. He likes putting on fast greens. But most importantly for me, I think Patrick Cantley, who was born on Patrick's Day, has got a really steely temperament. And I think he's a very unassuming, underrated golfer. And I think that we'll be looking back in 2 to 3 years' time and saying, oh, Patrick Cantley has won a couple of majors. Well, we all knew about that. But at the moment, people are underplaying Patrick Cantley's chances because of the fact that he's just a quiet character. And I think at 22-1 each way, I think he's got an excellent chance this week, and he's my main tip. My next tip is John Ram, who his wife gave birth to a baby boy last weekend, so he'd be absolutely buzzing. Kepa was born last weekend, and John Ram said he might miss the tournament if the baby had come during the Masters, but the baby was born last weekend. So John Ram is so consistent. 3 top 10s his last 3 Masters appearances. I was going through the stats here about his current form, which is pretty ridiculous. What is his current form? He's got 5 top 10s and 7 starts on the PGA Tour this year. With John Ram, he's won the World Tour Championship twice. He's won the Irish Open twice. He won the BMW Championship last year at a very tough course. He won the Memorial Jacks Tournament. He's third in the world. He's probably one of the best drivers in the game, and he's got a sure enough short game. And I think he's liked Augusta. And I just think he's a winner. We saw that when he faced down Tiger Woods in that Ryder Cup singles match. I do think John Ram is a major winner in waiting, and why not this Sunday? So John Ram is the second tip at 12-1. The third one is Matthew Fitzpatrick of England at 50-1 each way. You can get with one bookmaker. Matthew Fitzpatrick has been 7th at the Masters before. I actually think the firm and fast conditions will suit him this week. as opposed to what he faced in November when it was quite a soft course and Dustin Johnson pummeled the field with 20 under par. Matthew Fitzpatrick is playing extremely well. I'm just going through his stats here. In the top 20 in his last 5 starts in the PGA Tour. Played well at Sawgrass, played well at Bay Hill, has got an experienced caddy, Billy Foster, on the bag. Billy Foster used to caddy for Darren Clark, for Lee Westwood, for Seve. And Matthew Fitzpatrick, probably his secret weapon is his putting. This week, you're going to need to be able to put really well on these firm and fast greens. I know thunderstorms are possibly expected, but these greens are going to be like glass. And Matthew Fitzpatrick is one of the best putters out there. And he's playing well with a tidy game. I think he can contend. And he's won the World Tour Championship in Dubai twice. So he's not afraid to win, even though he hasn't won in America at 50-1, Matthew Fitzpatrick each way. Paul Casey is 33-1 each way. I was going through his whole career history at the Masters. 14 starts in the Masters, and he's been in the top 10 5 times. He loves Augusta. He had 4 top 10s in a row before the match play, so he's playing well. He's got a good all-round game. He likes the place, and he was second at the PGA, USPGA last year. So at 43, obviously the window is closing a little bit for Paul Casey to win a major, but I think he's got a big chance to do so at 33-1. A couple others, Shane Lowry. It's funny, like, you have to shop around if you're going to have a bet. With some bookmakers, Shane Lowry is 60-1. With other bookmakers, he's 125-1. And I think Shane Lowry has been speaking confidently about his game. He's found something on the greens. I don't think fast greens will any way perturb him because he nearly won the US Open at Oakmont, which has got some of the fastest greens in the world. So he has obviously won the Open Championship, so he knows how to finish the job. Augusta, you'd think, is a course that would suit him. He's generally a decent driver of the ball, and he's got that beautiful touch around the greens. But his top finish has been tied for 25th. But I think he can improve that this week and get into the conversation on Sunday. Shane Lowry, 125-1 each way. Finally, you know, you could be tipping 50, 60-1 shots. I checked out CT Pan of Taiwan, who turned up at the Masters last November for his first ever appearance and was tied for 7th. Using a local caddy, enjoyed himself, finished tied for 7th, was the top player in scrambling, which is getting the ball up and down when you miss the green. Then he turned up at the Honda Classic recently and was tied for 3rd. So he's in form. He as a rookie, he was tied 7th last November. He was the former world amateur #1. He's worked very hard in America to find himself in the game. And I think at 250-1, so 50-1 to get into the top 9, I think CT Pan is definitely worth a look. And the last one was Phil Nicholson. I don't think he's going to win the tournament, but I was going through once again the 3-time Masters champion in the top 10, 15 times at Augusta. So Phil Mickelson's now 50 years of age, which kind of tells me that I'm getting old as well. He shot a 69 in the second round in Texas last week. But Phil Mickelson, I do have a feeling, might roll back the years tomorrow and maybe be in contention for the first round leader position. So Phil Mickelson each way for first round leader. The first 8 places is our first 7 places is 90-1. So I think Phil Mickelson might have a good day tomorrow. But I've seen Freddie Couples, these kind of golfers in the past, Augusta veterans, Augusta specialists, do well on the opening day before fading. Phil might be the same. So Phil for first round leader, and the each way bets in descending order: CT Pan, Shane Lowry, Paul Casey, Matthew Fitzpatrick, John Ram, and the headline tip is Patrick Cantley. I'm betting with house money because we're ahead, and I also believe that it's one of the best things to bet on all year if you're going to have a bet responsibly, obviously.
Away from that, great tips, by the way, John. Away from that, it is extraordinary, isn't it, that there's an Irishman competing to complete a career Grand Slam, and there is little to no expectation for him to actually do it. It feels that maybe people like you, John, have been lulled into a false sense of security with Rory McIlroy for so long. Like, he's still in the headlines. He's still talking about his game, talking about how he's back to a more instinctive style of play. He talks about going to see Tiger Woods during the week and how it gives him a new sense of perspective. Have we seen all this before, John, or is it just completely irrational to think Rory McIlroy might contend?
Well, I've been lulled into the false sense of security, Owen, by the fact that Rory did so much at such an early age. So 10 years ago this year, he was leading the Masters. It was right there for him to win it, and then he shot that 80 in the final round, and we were all gasping, and he collapsed. He choked. You remember that tee shot on the 10th, which just went completely into somebody's garden or wherever it went. Then a few weeks later, he turns up and he wins the US Open, and he absolutely pulverizes the field at Congressional. And you're thinking, whoa, Rory McIlroy put that Masters behind him pretty quickly. Then in 2014, he won both the Open Championship and the PGA, the second time he won the PGA. And you're thinking, at the age of, 25, this guy is going to be absolutely sensational. He's going to have double-digit majors. He could challenge Tiger Woods. It just has not happened. Dermot Gleeson was writing in the Irish Independent, or in the Sunday edition, that his wedge play in the last few years has deteriorated. So his driving has been good as ever, but his approach play has definitely not been as sharp as it was. That's why he's gone to work with Pete Cowan, who is this guru who sorted out Gary Woodland, for example, and Gary Woodland won a US Open a couple of years ago. He's a renowned coach. And I like the fact that Pete Cowan has been speaking about not trying to break Rory down and start again. He's just saying that he's an artist and we just need to just finesse it a little bit. But Rory is also a streaky putter. Even Greg Norman was speaking in an interview last weekend about the fact that he's not too keen on McIlroy's putting stroke. McIlroy one day could shoot 65 with 25, 26 putts, and another day it might be 30, 31 putts. So all I was saying, and I've always said that, I've always felt that he's a natural artist, the most naturally talented player in the game, Owen. But if you're looking at an air price of 18-1, and the fact that 23 majors have come and gone since he last won one, of course he can win. He's been 6 times in the top 10 in his last 7 Masters appearances, because I think the course suits him, the high ball, the draw, and the fact that at the par 5s, he got 4 of them. But you'd have to say that the work he's done with Pete Cowan might take a little bit longer to come to fruition than that would normally this week. So I'm hoping that he wins, but I'm not so sure that he will.
John Duggan, great stuff. Thanks a million.
All right, Owen. Mind yourself. Enjoy it.
As he mentioned, you can check out all his tips on otbsports.com. And just to give you a quick reminder, it is Patrick Cantley, it is John Ram, it is Matthew Fitzpatrick, Paul Casey, Shane Lowry and CT Pan as his tips, and then Phil Mickelson for first round leader. He is the new Freddie Couples, it turns out, backfill for first round leader. So there's John Duggan with Virtual Insanity.